the POSITIVI-TEA podcast.
See what we did there?
Welcome to our brand new podcast where we bring you half an hour of happiness.
Kickstarting your week with us the right way.
Whether you join us on your commute,
Your weekly tidy up,
while you cook your favourite dinner,
or you listen to relax.
we've got you covered
So join me and Ellie every week
for a bit of positivity,
where we share hilarious and happy stories from around the globe.
as well as your own personal highlights.
Guaranteed to boost your mood and make you smile.
We bring your daily positivity to you, so look no further and make this positive podcast a part of your weekly routine.
And switch on the kettle and let's have a brew.
Hello and welcome to the POSITIVI-TEA podcast with us, Andy and Ellie. We hope you're feeling energised and positive listening to us. How are you feeling, Andy?
Same as every week, Ellie. Energised and positive and feeling good.
That's what we like. I'm so happy that's how you're feeling.
Good. Well, how are you?
Well, thanks for asking.
That's
It's
okay.
always
I
nice
just realised
to
I've
be
never
considered.
really asked you before.
No, not really nice to be considered in the equation. But yeah, I'm popping. I feel
popping.
really good. I feel like I could just gesticulate and throw my hands in the air. I didn't say testicles, I said gesticulate. I'm just, ready. I'm in the mood. I'm
You're in the mood.
angst up. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, that's what we love to hear. That is what we love to hear. Oh, Ellie, let's kickstart off the week, shall we? By spreading some
course.
positivity. So we've got loads of different stories from the UK and beyond to make you smile. So we'll start off with some positive stories and then we'll get into this week's themes.
And every single week we have a different theme. We asked you to get in touch last week and tell us your funny work stories. As we're now in the new year and in a lockdown, but let's just ignore that. Some people will be back working from home or looking for work. So we thought it would be a really good idea to bring a smile to your face about workplace drama. So for example, if you caught your manager doing something they shouldn't, if something went off at a work party, or if you did a whole day on Zoom naked from the waist down. We want to know. We will share your stories and more.
Yeah, especially with that last one. We won't be sharing photos or videos, so we don't need the evidence of that, but we'll take your word for it. And if you didn't get in touch, don't fear. You can always get in touch anytime. If you're listening to this podcast a year later, still get in touch because, we'll bring it back up again. And if you want to get in touch and you want to play along, tweet us or message us on Facebook and Instagram. Our social handle is @AndyandEllieUK. And we want to put a smile on everyone's faces, so do join in because it allows us to share your funny stories as well.
Yes, it does. And as Andy touched on it before, we always kick the show off by sharing a few of our favourite positive, smile-worthy stories from the UK that me and Andy have found in the news that week. So I'm going to start us off, Andy. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I've got a super uplifting and cute story to start us off. So, it's the story of a Welsh boy who climbed a mountain carrying potatoes.
What?
You might be confused at first, but 10-year-old Corey Williams from South Wales climbed a mountain while carrying a whole sack of heavy potatoes, all in the name of charity. He did not stop there though, cycling up another and running up a third. His efforts raised £4,000 to buy tablet computers for patients at hospitals such as the Royal Glamorgan who could not have visitors. Why potatoes, you might ask? Well, his dad owns a chippy, so it's not unusual for him to be throwing sacks of potatoes around, but it gave him the idea at the start of lockdown. After finding out about the hospital patients who couldn't have any contact with the outside world, he thought, put yourself in their shoes. You can't talk to them, you can't see them. It's really sad, and then I had an idea in my head to raise money for the people who can't Zoom on FaceTime, so they can't see their loved ones, hence why they bought the tablets. Of course, the news, interest and support from the public have meant this may become an annual event. Go, Corey.
Nice. Reminds me of a bit like the, when they'd throw the cheese down the hill.
Oh my god,
You know that?
yeah.
Cheddar Run. I don't think it's Cheddar Run. I don't know what it's called.
Where is that though? Is it in Scotland or something?
No, I don't think it is, isn't it? Oh wait, it could be. No, it's it begins with C, doesn't it? No.
Cornwall.
Is it Cornwall?
No.
I think it's Cornwall.
Is it Cornwall?
Let's find
Please
out.
correct us. Is it Cornwall?
Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire, Andy.
Is it Gloucestershire?
It's Gloucestershire.
But there's no SHIRE at the end.
But it's Gloucestershire.
Oh, so it's Gloucester, but then that's in Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire, yeah.
Gloucestershire,
I don't
right.
know.
Okay.
Anyway,
Oh, there's
tell
videos.
us.
I need to look at the videos and watch them. They're so funny. They're so funny. People just stacking it down the road. I've got a story, Ellie, and you're
Have
not
you?
going to be surprised that it's about an elderly person again.
Well, you do love them, Andy.
I do love them. But, you know, me and my cougars are rolling life into 2021. So as millions of elderly and vulnerable people in the UK face yet more time stuck inside, because obviously, you know, we are in another lockdown, limited social contact, there's a new online service which is kind of offering a valuable lockdown lifeline for them all. They're called the Living Memories online portal, and it's a non-profit community, which is basically... They've got archives of films, newsreels from like the 1930s, all the way up to the 1970s plus. So it's kind of capturing those kind of important world events, and there's like clippings of everyday life at home. So, you know, when the washing machine wasn't a real washing machine, and TVs and all that. So they do it not just to be like, look at where we are now, but it's more, it's just to kind of allow them to realise and spark memories from when they were younger.
Yeah.
You know, for all the elderly people, and apparently, well, not apparently, it definitely, research shows that it helps those with dementia as well to reminisce with families, friends, and carers and stuff like that.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's cute, isn't it? That's very cute.
Well, that's the thing, like, I always literally mention it every single podcast we do, but my grandma's 94. She can't remember things. I don't even think it's dementia, though, because, you know, you get to that age and you probably can't remember things that well. She's still sweet, though, but it's just... I feel like whenever we speak to her about something from her past, like it was her 13th birthday when the Blitz hit Sheffield, and she remembers that night so clearly. And when I know it's crazy, isn't it? When elderly people talk about these events, they're like brought back to life, and I think that's what a fabulous thing to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe not the bombings, but yeah.
No.
Other things for sure.
Yeah, definitely not the bombings. Anyway, moving on to my second story. So this is all about Move Over Men. This is a story about how the UK will finally have a dedicated list of trades women. Yes, coming into the 21st century. Women are strong. So basically it means that vulnerable people who need labour doing in their house, who might feel uncomfortable around men for whatever reason, can get those stereotypically male jobs done by trades women. What a positive step in the right direction. So, a digger operator in Yorkshire, a tree surgeon in the Midlands. I'm always like confused about a tree surgeon. So you cut trees. I don't know. I'm not putting it down though. It's just a bit of a sexy name for it. And a stonemason in Scotland are among the experts to feature on a national register of tradeswomen, which is set up to launch on the 15th of March. So the non-profit project, the National Register of Tradeswomen, is the brainchild of Stop Cox. What a fabulous name for a women's non-profit organisation. So Stop Cox Women Plumbers founder Hattie Hassan, who says the aim is to ensure that vulnerable householders who feel safer with tradeswomen are able to find them. Hassan grew up in a violent home, so she knows firsthand the challenges faced by women in similar circumstances. But it's a super positive story of the changing times.
Absolutely. Better late than never, but could have been done a lot earlier on. But it's great that it's finally, you know, people are actually finally pushing for all these things, which is great.
Of course.
Get your brew on, Ellie, and everyone else.
You said it with such conviction. I feel like I need to go run to put the kettle on now. I'm off. Bye.
Go, be gone. Go get it on. So this week on Get Your Brew On, we are discussing funny work stories, and it's always refreshing talking about our own positive highlights of this week. And we also asked you to tell us yours as well. So, of course, this week's theme is funny work stories. Ellie, let's have a brew.
As Andy said, this week's theme is all about those funny work stories. And I've got a couple, because I always try and outdo Andy here. So I've got two. But we can space it out. I'll do one, you do one, then I'll do another one, Andy. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
That's what we like. So, one of them is more shocking than funny, but I'm ready to do a full-page expose on what happened. So, I was working in retail in the fitting rooms, and a woman came up to me, right, Andy?
Yeah.
She goes, have you got a bin? Now, I'm always wary when people say that because I'm thinking, what on earth are you about to either give me or tell me to put in the bin? Because it's always somewhat weird because people in retail have no shame. It's like they act like actual animals. So anyway, I was like, yeah, we do, yeah. You know, good with the customer service and whatnot. And she goes, can you put these in it? And I thought, I should put my hand out. So I put my hand out. And then do you know what she did, Andy? She looked at me, she took out her contact lenses and put them in my hand.
No.
I was like, oh my gosh, I've never been so horrified in all my life. I was like, half of me couldn't believe what she'd just done, and the other half could not run to the bin quick enough. And I was just in pure shock. Like, believe me, it was funnier for other people than it was for me, but I laughed about it afterwards.
Yeah, so she took them out right in front of you as well. She didn't pre-take them out.
No. That her time must have been up, and she literally, bearing in mind, like, I could be really weird with eyes, she opened her eyes up with her fingers, put her finger on it, took it out and put them in my hand, and I was like, oh my god, I was stuck there stagnant, like I'd just smelt something bad. I couldn't move for a second, then I was like, ching, like off like a cartoon.
No, I get that. I mean, so I wear contact lenses now, but beforehand, I would never have thought the day I'd be sticking my finger into my eye, you know, getting contact lenses in and out. And if I saw my friends do it, I'd creep out as well. But I think I would be less scared about it if somebody did it now. But I would still be a bit like, you could have pre-taken them out.
Well, I'd never seen anyone do it anyway, and I know it's not like watching somebody give birth, it's not that shocking, but I was like completely creeped out. And the hygiene side, this is what I mean by people have no shame. It's just pure filth. I was like, I've literally got somebody's wet eye on my... Anyway. Tell me a funny story. So is that the title
That's
of the
the title.
It could be.
I've got a wet eye.
You know, tell me a funny story, man.
Well, my funny story was when I used to work at a clothes shop. And we used to, you know, classic really, you kind of get a bit bored.
Classic really.
It is a classic. It is a classic. So we do a thing called an accent challenge. Now, I mean, I'd like to hope there's loads of people out there who do this. But, you know, you even pick up the phone to someone and you have to do it in another accent.
Right.
But
what, to customers?
To customers, yeah. So you had to pretend you were something like from somewhere else. So you either had like Scottish, Irish, and things like that, you know. So you have to do it and see how long you can commit to it.
Right.
So I got told to do an Australian accent.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. And I obviously loved it because I would like to say I'm quite good at accents.
You are.
Ellie? And I was like, yeah, do you know what? I've got this one. I can do this. I did it the first time. Perfect. Went absolutely perfect. The second person who came in, and I kid you not, the second person who came in, I started saying, "You're right there," and all that. I was Irish.
What was that, Irish?
That was
Are you
Irish.
trying to do an Australian then?
Yeah, I can't do it on the spot now. Oh god. Is there anything? Oh no, do an Irish again.
Do you know the way to slip into it is go, "Good day, mate," and then you're off.
Mate, is there anything I can help you with?
Yeah.
Anyway, that was more New Zealand, but whatever. I was good at the time when I did it.
Yeah.
And the customer was also Australian themselves.
Oh God, what a nightmare!
And I just kind of froze. I was like, uh-oh.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh no, hopefully we don't think I'm taking a mick out of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had to kind of commit. So I was studying acting. So I was like, well, I'm in this deep. I've got to stay along with it. So he then started to ask questions about, oh, you know, when did you move over here? I was like, I just kind of moved down from university. You know, oh, where were you living? I had zero idea of places in Australia.
God,
zero idea. I can't remember the town I made up, but I made up a word, and I said that it was near Sydney. I said it's a small little town just near, you know, a little bit, about 45 minutes away. And then he goes, "Oh, is that near this thing?" And I was like,
God.
I was like, "Oh God!" And I was like, "Okay, either he knows that I'm lying and he's making it up, and he's making up something to try and catch me out, you know." So I was like, yeah, it's I mean, it's not too far from there, but you know, it's just around that area. And then he kind of just carried on, and then he didn't buy anything in the end, but he had a little look around. I said, if there's anything else you need, let me know. And then he
did you do it in an Australian accent?
What if there's anything else you need, mate? Just let me know.
He must have fully thought you were taking the mick.
No, well,
you do it to an extreme.
But like, wouldn't you call someone out? Like, I would call somebody out if I could tell they were just messing about.
He was probably having too much fun with you, though.
He probably was.
I would not have had the confidence that you had, or maybe stupidity, to go, yeah, it is near there. Because he could have been fully...
That's what I'm thinking. Lying to trick me. Double bluffing. Yeah.
That's such a brilliant story, genuinely. I feel like we've peaked on this podcast because we've got some really funny stories today. That's really good. My other story, however, is animal-based. So in the same retail shop, which I won't name for legal purposes because you're not meant to talk about your work, and technically I'm still furloughed from them, even though I've not worked there in ages.
Cafe shop, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not a cafe. Anyway, so we once had to close, right? And this was like pure chaos and havoc, but it was so funny at the same time. And you know when you can actually get off doing anything at work because something crazy's happened. So a pigeon flew in, and you would have thought that somebody had thrown a bomb through the shop window, right? It was absolute mayhem because we couldn't catch it. And obviously it's a hygiene issue because they're meant to be like festering with God knows what. So we had to shut the shop, right? And we were chasing this pigeon around for God knows how long. But as you walk into the left of the shop, I mean, I'm literally telling you the blueprint from the shop, but you wouldn't guess where it is. It's in Sheffield, like. And as you walk up the stairs, it's got a really high ceiling, and it was stuck at the top of there. And people, the reason we had to shut was people would come down the stairs and it'd be flying around in their face and, you know, screaming and overreacting and whatnot. So anyway, after hours and hours and hours of trying to chase this pigeon, we'd done all the standards on everything clothes-wise, so there was literally nothing else to do. So we opened the doors, we were like, right, we're going to have to shut it in and call someone. As we opened the doors to leave the shop at 6:30 at night, it just flew out. And we were like, I literally cannot believe. For 3 hours, we'd stuck mucking about trying to get this dirty pigeon out the shop.
Did it sit still, or did it just kept on flying around in panic?
No, yeah, it was flying around for a bit. God. Like we had him. I didn't want welfare or RSPCA on my back, but we were trying to like move it with like a brush, you know, like a big mop thing, not like smacking it, not trying to knocking like a spider.
Out, like, yeah, I gotcha.
But yeah,
you know,
trying
spiders.
to
no, that's where you get the RSPCA. What is it? RSPCA.
The arse, yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Very, very funny. But we want to see if you can do any better than that. So we asked you and all the people on our social media to tell us your funny work stories, and my God, did you deliver.
If you listen to this and, you know, we spark a memory that happened at your workplace, don't worry, you can still get in touch because we will still get back to you about it within the next future podcasts. And we might do like the best of episode. I think that's a good idea, Ellie. We could do a best of episode, and then we can get all the best stuff. So yeah, if you want to be featured, Andy and Ellie UK is our social handles: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and andyandellieuk@gmail.com if you want to type us a little email.
That's all you have to do. So this is already my favourite episode, and we're going to tell you why, because we had so many brilliant pieces of interaction and stories thrown our way. And obviously we're going to say the names of the people but not where they work, because we don't want them to get sacked. Some of them don't still work there, but they're just so ridiculous. So the first one's quite tame, but it's a bit cheeky. Elise from Manchester got in touch and said she had a really embarrassing but funny moment at work when her manager caught her looking at his crotch. So his zipper had been down all day, and get this, his Simpsons boxers had been on the show the whole time, but no one had the heart or nerve to tell him. She said that she'd had a really long day, so she was spacing out a little bit. And you know when your eyes fix on something, but you're so tired that you can't move them quick enough? She's staring at his crotch, at his Homer Simpson face, whatever it is, staring back at the bulge or whatever. And he saw her looking at his crotch. Apparently they just fixed eyes and he walked off, but she couldn't stop laughing about it. It's one of them things where you go to bed at night just thinking like, I wonder what the hell he was thinking. But thanks so much, Elise, for that. That's brilliant.
That was brilliant. That was great. And I'm just picturing Homer Simpson just staring back at someone, or like Marge with her blue hair just going on. Okay, I'm getting too deep
It'd be
into
funnier
it.
if it was Mr. Burns or like.
Oh, Mr. Burns. Just like with that little evil look he does.
Oh, God.
It's a bit creepy now, isn't it? Just realised. I've got one from Christian and his girlfriend Carly. They both work together in a ski resort, bless them. I don't know why I said bless them, but that's quite cute. Like they're both working together. That's what I was getting at. So they were dealing with risk assessments, right? And they got paired up with somebody. She's 30 years old. I was going to say she's a woman, but obviously that doesn't matter. But what I meant to say was they were paired up with a 30-year-old woman. There we go. And basically she marked the fire extinguisher as being a hazard. And her reason for this was because it wasn't plugged in and therefore could not work.
Right.
So it's just a blonde moment, I feel.
And this woman works for health and safety.
I would like to think... Well, I don't know. I think she worked at the ski resort with them.
Right, and she was
doing the same task as they, but yeah, she kind of just thought that extinguishers had to be plugged in.
Moving on then, Neve from Barnsley got in touch and said she once had a really rude customer at work. So she's a waitress in a very well-known Italian restaurant. So this is where the nightmare starts. She had this really rude woman who had been condescending and patronising towards her all night. So obviously this was a customer. And the thing is, this is what is so shocking about this. It went from comments about the way Neve was holding the plates and putting them on the table to how bad the food was, to how Neve would look more professional with her hair up, which is so random because it's like, why on earth are you getting personal? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for just having your hair up.
Yeah, just so bizarre. Like, she obviously had it down, and apparently the woman was starting to, like, talk about the way that she looked and sort of, like, criticising her, which has got nothing to do with your food and why you're out for the night. So anyway, at the end of their meal, at the end of this horrible ordeal, the lady ordered one last dry white wine, and as Neve took it over to the table, she took it off the serving plate and, quote-unquote, accidentally dropped it all down this wretched woman. And to be honest, good for her, because nobody deserves to be personally attacked for no reason. Like, fair enough, I'm not saying before people jump on me about, well, what if the food's bad, can't you complain? Yeah, but you don't start taking the mick out of somebody in the way they look. It's so weird.
No, I agree with that, absolutely.
Yeah. Apparently Neve said it was an accident, but like most of the staff are aware it wasn't and didn't care because she was horrible. But apparently the woman tried to get away with not paying for the whole meal because of this quote-unquote accident, but in the end she did pay for it. So
good. She probably never returned though.
Well,
which is kind of good
though,
really. No, exactly.
Yeah.
I've got Hannah, who works in a clothes store. This is a great one because I feel like I would do this. And I'm surprised I didn't do it actually at the clothes shop I used to work at. But she and her whole team used to kind of play a prank on their manager. They were quite close with their manager, so they kind of felt like they could get away with it. But this one went a little bit too far-ish. So they had mannequins, and they would maneuver the mannequins in appropriate positions.
Ew.
Yeah, but like not like sexual positions, but kind of, well, yes, I assume it was like that, but also, you know, a bit naughty positions.
However, bit naughty positions. Is that how you chat women up?
Yes.
You come in with me, love, and we'll get up to them bit naughty positions later.
Naughty. We should stop doing that. That's a bit naughty.
Yeah.
Anyway, the manager didn't realise for an entire week. So one of them said all the mannequins but one was kind of like.
You know what that reminds me of? I once went to Yorkshire Wildlife Park, and you know how you go through the gift shop afterwards, even though you only go to see the animals. And there was a lion, a tiger, and a bear, and I know, looking like they were having like a full-on spit roast. And I was just thinking, that's not right. And then I realised like somebody was obviously having a joke, but it was funny, so fair enough. Next up though, George from Durham said he was once working as a student help at a university open day when he was taking people round and opened a door to one of the huge lecture amphitheatres and saw, get this, because shockily, he saw two lecturers getting off. What? He said he couldn't believe it. He just piled in about 12 budding young adults ready to become students at this uni. And the fact that it was an open day meant that these two lecturers were about to teach them about the upcoming course. So clearly they got more than they bargained for. But apparently the lecturers literally got up and just carried on as if nothing had happened. And I don't know if they were going out. I don't know if they were cheating on each other. But
that's the more worrying part. But if they're both lectures, you're like, well, no, I mean, you're not allowed to do that, are you? But
no.
It seems, you know, I mean, we all kind of been there. We've tried to be a sneaky little kiss, but sneakily kiss someone. Like,
yeah.
Where you shouldn't be like, if it was like college, we did it in the.
I don't want to know what you were getting
No,
up
I didn't
to.
mean that. We just kissed in the costume cupboard, is what I'm saying.
Right, okay.
No, nothing extravagant, like, nothing further than that.
You were having a rompus in the cupboard.
A rompus in the costume. That word worked so well because it's such a theatrical word as well.
Yeah.
Do you like Lush, Ellie?
Oh, I love a bit of Lush.
I love a bit of Lush. I mean, I love it, but I don't like it because when you're walking past it, it kind of gives you a bit of a headache, doesn't it, really? But
They harass you.
And they do that. So we've got Rebecca who worked in Lush, and she caught 2 people licking Lush bombs.
Ew, what?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why they did this, but I mean, I know why because they explain why. But
yeah.
So she caught them, and she kind of queried with them, "Why are you doing this?" Which is a general natural response, I assume.
Yeah.
And they said that they had a bet on who could lick the most before getting caught or throwing up.
Ew, what on earth?
And if you want to know who won, it ended in the draw because she caught them both at the same time.
That is, that's one of the funniest ones because it's so weird.
I just imagine looking over and just being simply licking, and their faces would probably look like, when you eat sour worms, and they're like scrunching up their faces. That's probably what it looked like.
Will it have been like well fizzy and stuff?
Oh yeah, no, it wouldn't have been nice. That would have been a horrible taste. But I mean, they do look edible as well, so they've kind of got it coming to them. Like they do look like there could be like really cool sweets, but.
But they're not though. So
they're
that's weird.
Very true. I don't know how old these people were, but I mean, if they're 30 odd, then that makes it even funnier.
Imagine if they were like 80-year-olds. Oh God, that's so. You'd love that as well.
Worse.
You'd love that.
Yeah, that's. That gets me ticking. That does. Old people licking Lush bombs.
Oh, for God's sake, Andy. Right, we're going off to Chesterfield for this one. So Chris and Lucas got in touch to share their dual funny work story. So obviously they worked together. So they were working for a takeaway, and when they were about to drive the orders to the houses, so it was about 10 p.m. as well. So still quite premature in terms of what you'd expect from the nightlife to kick off in a spectacular fashion. Anyway, a fight broke out between 2 middle-aged women who started throwing kebab and chips at each other whilst at the same time grabbing each other's hair and trying to KO each other. So Chris was standing back while Lucas tried to split this up innocently, and out of nowhere one of the women grabbed his takeaway bag and launched it at this other woman that she was trying to kill. As there wasn't a carrier bag inside this takeaway bag, this whole order of chips, kebab, extra chicken, garlic sauce went flying into this woman's face. It was a serious ordeal, but the most unusual story, perhaps the punchline I might add, is this sort of stereotype that girls can scream and fight with each other but have a drink and then they just make up. Apparently after they calmed down, they had a laugh and went on with their night.
What?
Which is so bizarre. I know.
Want some more food, please? We've just had somebody message us on Twitter, Ellie. Her name's Hayley. And this is a cracker of a story, by the way. So her work story is, she used to work for a drainage company, and we were doing some work for a shop in Sheffield that were complaining of a smell coming from under the floor. Ironically, under Santa's grotto. Which is already perfect. I sent 2 of my engineers out, and, well, I didn't, Hayley did. Hayley sent 2 of her engineers out and asked them to call and update her so she could update the client with the details. It took a couple of hours, but she finally got the call, and they told me they had found and removed the cause of a blockage.
What was it?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
It was a large glass dildo.
What? A dildo?
Yeah.
A glass one as well?
I didn't even know you could get glass ones, Ellie. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, there you go.
That's news to me. I'll have to find out the differences between the plastic and the
what on
glass ones in the
Andy?
future.
What are you talking about?
I mean, I don't personally. I'm just...
I thought you meant it was
Things I regret to
say. Your work experience task of the day. You're gonna first hand.
No, not first hand or third hand. just I'm now intrigued. I'm not going to, but mentally thinking, why is there a difference? But anyway, she said it had got wedged and caused a blockage. She had to call the director and explain what was causing the smell.
Oh,
she said
God.
eventful to say the least.
Well, yeah, definitely. Hayley, what a fantastic story.
That was brilliant.
It's always, the odd story about a dilly does excite you, doesn't it?
It does excite me, yeah. The odd dilly.
You love a dilly.
The excitable dilly.
Can that be the name of the
episode? Can that be the name? Yeah, I didn't know there was a nickname for him. I'm learning everything on this show, I tell you. I'm learning everything.
You've opened a full-on wormhole. That was so funny, though.
So
brilliant. Oh, God! God!
Okay, no, fair enough.
I wonder how long the blockage, like how long it took the blockage to move out the way. And somebody had to pick up a dilly.
Yeah.
Oh, under Santa's grotto.
Somebody didn't like their Christmas present though.
Oh my God. If you want to have your cup of positivity featured on the show, then what are you waiting for? Drop us a message and give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. As we're recording the show, if we get hilarious admissions like that, we will pop it in straight away. Pop it. I was doing a little drop the bass remix there. On to Overbrewed now. This is the section of the show where we like to have a little vent because not everybody seems to share the same excitement when it comes to positivity. Sometimes maybe you felt a little bit annoyed that someone is so overly happy, Andy, or something has happened which you really should be quite pleased about, but honestly, you're not. And Overbrewed is where we just let it all out and discuss some things that everybody else seems to get excited about, but really it just irks you. Of course, it would make sense to link it in with this week's theme of funny work stories or just the workplace in general. And as you're listening, play along with us, get involved at Andy and Ellie UK on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Tell us what your Overbrewed is of the week.
Sticking to workplaces, I am a little bit annoyed, so this is my Overbrewed. When, I don't do it anymore because my job's slightly different now, but when I was working in retail and stuff like that, you know, when you just had an annoying shift and you're like, oh, lunch comes along, and you're like, oh, thank goodness, I can just sit back and relax.
Yeah.
And then 2 seconds later, you just feel your seat kind of move, and there's another co-worker who is also on the same lunch break as you.
Oh, no.
But you're already listening to music or videos, or you're watching a program or something, you know, you've got your headphones in, and then they kind of make you keep taking the headphone out, and it's like, you kind of you want to be nice, so you kind of do a smile and nod and like, laugh at your jokes, and I think that's kind of just what annoys me, is just being prevented from sitting there to kind of space out from my job.
Yeah, that's the point though, like, and especially if you don't like eating in front of people as well, because I never used to like doing that, and you used to sit there, you're ready, and then, or if your manager comes in, then you have to speak to them, and you just think, oh, this is like still being
I'm still at work.
Yeah.
No, I agree to that.
Exactly. Going with the theme of work-based stories as well, Andy, I cannot stand work parties, and I will contradict myself already in saying that this might be because I've not been to enough or because I've just been to crap ones, but everybody seems to love a work do, whether it's a Christmas party or someone's leaving. Honestly, it just stresses me out, and I think it's more of the fact that I'm gluten-free, so I'll blame it on the celiac, but it's the whole ordeal of trying to find somewhere to eat that fits everyone's dietary requirements, and then like trying to sort out who's paying and who's cancelling late, and oh wait, there's a plus one over here, and I just think, well, I could just do without it, and it kind of just sucks the fun out of it. Not to mention you genuinely run the risk of being sacked if you drank too much.
Embarrassing.
And, they try and like lead you into a false sense of security
they're trapping you. That's the whole point of it. They want you to do something stupid.
That's interesting. That's a good point. As you're listening, tell us at Andy Nelly UK, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, have you ever known of anyone, or have you yourself been sacked for something that went on at a works do? Whether it was because you were drunk, whether it was something you said or something you did, we want to know. Yeah. And coming towards the end of the show, as we always do, Andy, we like to pour some sugar. There's my sound effect.
That's good. I like that.
If you're liking the tea theme here, we like to pour some sugar in the form of a positive story that caught our attention from across the globe.
So we said around the globe, Ellie, but this one just had to be kind of said. It's from the UK, so I'm going to go in against the thing that's not across the globe, but it's amazing because one, it's a dog.
Oh yeah.
And two, the name of the dog, and that's all you need to know. Oh well, three, I guess, what the dog does. So this dog is a little handsome Labrador.
Aww.
And the name is Stumpy.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's named Stumpy because obviously it's got a deformed leg, and it was meant to be brought up to be a guide dog, but obviously due to the deformed leg, it wasn't meant to be. But then Stumpy found a new way to help others. It gives blood, not to humans obviously, but to other doggos. And I didn't know dogs do that. I didn't know that's technically a thing. So the 9-year-old Labrador has saved more than 100 doggos since the age of 1 by donating blood for emergency transfusions. Stumpy has been crowned the United Kingdom's most prolific blood donor dog. He has a negative blood type, which is especially valuable because it allows his blood to be given to any dog. Which is nice. Sharing is caring. Stumpy's owner said that Stumpy obviously has no idea what he's doing it for, which kind of makes sense. It is a dog. Yeah. But if he did, I'm sure he'd be very proud of himself.
Oh, that's so lovely.
It's a doggable, isn't it? See what
yeah. I love that you called him a doggo.
Doggo, yeah. I mean, any dog lovers know that they've got better names than dog.
Yeah,
Doggo,
of course, Doggo.
Cuter names.
Well, from the UK to California for this one. It's a very, very heartwarming story. It's the story of a girl who donated all her birthday money to a homeless man after he found and returned her grandma's wallet. So in this section, we do have a bit of a theme with like returning wallets and stuff, but people need to take better care of their wallets because they're losing them. Isn't it? Yeah, losing them all the time, and it's hitting the news. Anyway, so in Jewish tradition, a mitzvah is a good deed that's performed with a good heart simply because it's the right thing to do. And that's just how Evelyn Topper described the kind act of a homeless stranger who'd gone out of his way to return her lost wallet. Sean Curry, a homeless man, had found the wallet in a dumpster behind the coffee shop that they'd been to. Except for the cash, the contents were intact. Even though he'd been homeless for 5 years, rather than take advantage, Curry reached out to the coffee shop to then make arrangements to return the property, which I just think is so honest and so lovely. So the wallet was given back, and Curry, Sean, the man, I don't know why I said it like James Bond then, didn't believe he'd done anything out of the ordinary. He'd done it, he explained in an interview with NBC, because he had a heart and that's the way he was brought up. To say thank you to this lovely man, on the day of this woman's granddaughter's 12th birthday party just days later, she placed a photo of Curry with a little note on her driveway. By the end of her happy birthday, she'd raised several $100s to say thank you, and she gave all the money to Sean, who said he couldn't believe it. Of course, it hit the news too, and what a brilliant story.
That's amazing, isn't it? Not only is everyone losing their wallets, but the fact that people are giving them back, and it's not just you think, my wallet's gone, it's been stolen. But I
don't think I'd be so lucky, do you?
No, I don't either. I think mine would be gone. I lost mine in Spain once and it got stolen because I tried on a different jacket and then my wallet was in the other jacket. I can't remember how did that get stolen? Did I just leave my other jacket and I forgot about my jacket? Yeah, I think that's what I did. And then within it, I had the wallet in there. But this was when I was younger, so I didn't have like any debit cards or anything like that. I think it's just the wallet. And
just a little bit of cash in your drug dealing days.
$500 and
something little. Well, Andy, we have blabbed for so long, but that is the end of the show. So thank you so much for listening. Remember, the ways to get in contact are at Andy and Ellie UK, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything. And how can they email us?
And in ellieuk@gmail.com.
Me and Andy will see you next week, but just before that, this is next week's theme.
Thanks, Ellie. Next week's theme is worst dating moments. So any dating moments you've had, whether it's been lockdown or before lockdown, we want to hear them.
Oh, we definitely do. And don't spare on the gory details. We want to know if someone's been weird to you, if someone's overshared, if something disgusting happened on the day, and of course the sexual details. Nothing too prolific or over the top, but we'll censor it for the sake of the podcast. But until then, we'll see you next week.
See ya. Bye.